Alright, welcome back everybody to another top 5 this year game of the year. It's been quite some time since I have picked up a microphone and spoke into it, so it feels very weird and very different because, if you haven't noticed, I'm pretty sure you've noticed, there's been a very weird change and shift to my channel. I've been doing a lot of experimenting with videography and all that, because that's sort of like my newfound interest, and I don't want to do all that on my main channel, so I'm thinking of pushing that over to another channel and then get right back to my my regular videos. But again, like I said last year, I'm trying to focus on doing less let's plays and stuff this year. And well, I guess this year's over now, so I guess that didn't happen, but we're gonna move on. In the following year, in 2017, we're looking for getting a lot more big production stuff out. So I'm trying to get like more top 5s and stuff like that, stuff that takes a little bit more time, but it's actually, like good content, good quality content, things that you wouldn't find like normally on a regular gaming channel. I want to try and get stuff like that out there. So I want to get like a new podcast and all that stuff going, and a whole bunch of other things that I have ideas in the works for in the very near future. But at the moment, let's get right into the top 5. I never know how to do intros, so let's just hop right into it. No Man's Sky. I'm going to keep this brief just because I know how the community feels about No Man's Sky. However, I feel like the game wasn't given its proper dues for what it managed to actually accomplish by the end of the year. A lot of people felt ripped off by the end result of No Man's Sky simply because of the unmatched hype built around the game. Unfortunately, this hype was mostly generated due to fan speculations and desires. While the desires weren't unfounded, they were hard for the small indie development team Hello Games to promise. No Man's Sky was meant to simply be a space exploration game for fans of space exploration. That's it. The game came with a humongous universe, which is and probably will be for quite some time unmatched by many games in this category. Within its lifespan, No Man's Sky ran into some issues which players poked and prodded the game until its death for every single minute detail that they could find, even when they knew the issues that they were propagating were false. It got to a point in which the hate train never stopped. Funnily enough though, everyone has seemed to give it a second chance. It seems as though everything has come full circle due to the fact that the team went dark for a few months, not because they abandoned the game, but because they were working on the content that they promised, and the new base building and upcoming freight ship patches. I think No Man's Sky could have a potential future. While it may not be the game of the year, it was definitely the most ambitious of the year.
Dark Souls 3, the real Who's Your Daddy simulator. This game will take you and bend you over its knee and spank another hole so fast in your ass that you'll wish it took you out on a date first. This game pissed me off, but I like it. It'll have you constantly killing the same 4 enemies for those same 4 souls as you grind and grind and grind just to pass that first area. You'll rage and you'll smash your controller after an intense boss battle, which you later found out wasn't actually the boss at all and was just some huge ass dude blocking your way to the second half of the area. And trust me, there is always a second half to the area. Yet you come back for more. Why, you wonder? Why do I keep doing this to myself? Am I just a sucker for pain, eating peanut butter and jellyfishes on toast? No. You do it all for the glory of finally, after those wee hours into the night, you finally got the boss's number, and you take down that beast and suck down those souls you've collected after dying and collecting your souls over and over and over again and amassing a great deal of souls, all to get back and level up yourself one level. Wait, did I just do that right? One level? One level? Man, this game sucks. And that is why Dark Souls 3 is on this list. Looking for the shortcut into the Suicide Squad? Play this.
Tom Clancy's The Division. Tom Clancy, we will miss you, my man. However, your name continues to live on in the titles that are produced out of the universe that you created. The Division wasn't actually written by Tom Clancy, however, the game was written within the universe that Tom Clancy had created. The Division was a game that was based on a post-apocalyptic society in which an epidemic was created during Black Friday, and you're living through the aftermath as Division agents who are set out to protect the city from all of the havoc that's being created. The Division was actually a great game, not only in the gameplay department, but also in the story department. I enjoyed running through the city and finding all of the extra dead drops and things like that were left over throughout the city scattered. You have the echoes, you have little audio recordings, you have all kinds of small pieces of dialogue that overall creates a much bigger story. And I thought that was pretty cool and also very interesting because a lot of it held backstories that you would learn from characters that you'd face later on in the game. And I felt like that was a great way to tie back to what the story was actually attempting to convey, which was, you know, people leaving behind little shreds of their story before the aftermath. The Division is one of the new, almost impossibly categorized games. It's a MMORPG TPS. The experience in The Division was wholly based on exploring the world and finding new things. So it was always a great thing when, you know, I explored the world with my friends and we ran into something new that we never seen before. We collected some new gear that we never seen before. And there were all kinds of small things that were in the game that were great to collect. And I don't know, a lot of people don't really feel like that's a great gameplay mechanic, but I feel like that works really well when you're playing with friends. Now, a lot of people like to play the solo aspect of the game, and that's where it kind of falls off because a lot of the game isn't really compatible with the solo experience because matchmaking isn't always the best, as well as the fact that playing solo, you will be destroyed. The game doesn't... the game is relentless when I'm playing with friends. So playing solo, the game is going to absolutely murder you. So a lot of people don't enjoy that, but I felt like the game overall had a good feel of progression until sort of the end game. The end game is where the game sort of started to drop off and people started to get frustrated because the end game sort of focused a little bit too much on the PvP aspect. Now, I'm a stickler for cooperative games, so I like to play with my friends throughout the story, listening to, you know, all the dialogue and working together to get a common goal completed. I used to play competitively for many years of my early life. I've said this a million times already. PvP doesn't pique my interest anymore. So the Dark Zone was a unique idea. It was a great idea on paper, but overall it was filled with trolls and it was not managed properly. The Dark Zone was filled with people who were either doing some kinds of exploits or hacks in order to get their gear score and their gear to the tip top. And the game didn't bracket the Dark Zone off well enough so that you were not being pitted against people who were supremely over your level. Typically, a game will only do that to you if you've entered an area in which someone is, you know, like, alright, let's say you enter New York, and New York is like the level 20 zone, and then you run all the way down to Washington, D.C., Washington DC is the level 400 zone. You go into DC and these DC guys are level 400. They're gonna kill you immediately. But in the division, however, it sort of played like all of the DC players were in New York, killing you immediately as soon as you enter, and they were trolling. They wanted your gear just so that they could sell it or scrap it or something like that, maybe get some lucky drops off of you, and it didn't get fun anymore, and that kind of ruined the experience. And unfortunately, a lot of the later on DLC gear sets focused too highly on obtaining them from the Dark Zone, and that kind of threw off the experience, along with a few of the issues with enemies not scaling properly. That kind of took a lot of issues out of the division that made the division as great as it was. The experience from the beginning of the game to the last mission in the game was a great experience. The experience after that became a painful experience, and I wish that experience carried over until the end, but unfortunately that didn't happen. Fortunately though, it seems like the game has picked up its pace recently with its recent revision and patch 1.4, I believe. I haven't gone back. However, I've heard that the team has truly listened to the fans and they fixed a lot of the issues that were in the game before the patch. So, I don't know. I'd like to see where the division is going to go in the next few years. I don't know if it's meant to have a long time goals such as Destiny's 10-year plan, which I don't know where that's planning on going, but I don't know if I see the division having 10 years or what's going on, but I think that if the division could fix itself up, it could have a potential future. But I think that the division would honestly be great if it just stayed where it was at the end of the game.
Final Fantasy 15. What is there that can't be said about this game already? This was a game that was 10 years in the making. It was like dumping a pork shoulder inside of a pressure cooker, letting it simmer and simmer and simmer, and just when you thought it was ready to be taken out, you were wrong and it continued to simmer. Until, bing! Out pops one of this year's biggest and best games. And boy, did that delicious hunk of meat, Gladio, fall right off the bony yet succulent prompto. The game says it all, folks. A Final Fantasy game for old and new fans. And it couldn't be more right. This game is damn near fantastic and even breathtaking at sometimes. Traveling through this iteration into the mainline series never looked so good, being ever so regal in the regalia. The combat is smooth and gives off the perfect blend of simple yet complex, and has that overall reminiscent feel of the Final Fantasy XII game that gave me, and I'm sure many of its veterans of the series, a warm feeling inside. This game has a ton to offer, from its vast and oftentimes creepy dungeons and pickup spots on the map for some of the higher level gear to ingredients for Ignatius to create fantastic and realistic looking dishes. You tell me you don't want to eat some of Iggy's home-cooked cub soup, and I'll call you a liar straight to your face. The cast that's with you throughout your journey to find yourself and bring about peace to the world aren't just there to aid you when the battle gets tough, but offer lighthearted and funny banter between one another. And the beast that you battle, oh, brother, those beasts. I hate them. Great cast, great story, and a fantastic amount of side content make this game a surefire pick for our list this year. So go out and pick up a copy now, and darling, stand by me. Stand by me.
Uncharted 4. Oh man, what can I say about Uncharted 4? Probably the greatest story experience that I've had this year, but also probably the most, oh my god, it's probably the biggest twist I've had of the entire year. So that's why I'll probably place this at the top one spot of my list. Uncharted was a great, and I mean a really great story. I had fun throughout the entire story. I laughed, I cried, I threw myself out the window, and then I also rewound time like the sands of time and put myself right back in the game where I last left off. And I had a good time. I had a whole great time taking a million photos in photo mode. I experienced the story a million times over, and I don't know, there's not much else I can say about the story. The characters, the acting, the casting, everything was great. Experiencing the game from different perspectives now, because we're seeing it as a more serious tone than we have in the past, but the jokes are still there, but they weren't as strong this year, which is kind of a letdown. But I also still had a great time enjoying the game, and they still had like different things in there that kept the humor still going, as you know, normal Uncharted games would. So you have like, alright, so let's not put those in there because that's like spoilers, so let's just not even act like I just spoiled anything. So, you know, like, Uncharted had a great story, and that's all I can really say. Unfortunately, the multiplayer ruined everything for me. I was a big Uncharted multiplayer fan. Like, I played Uncharted 1 and it was a great game, enjoyed the story, and that was it. Uncharted 2 came out and then they added the multiplayer aspect, and I was just getting into like the whole YouTube stuff, so I was like, oh man, this is great. And then they added the machinima mode and I was like, oh man, this is great. And then I could start recording videos in there. I was like, oh man, this is great. And then Uncharted 3 came out and they removed all that. But they still kept a lot of the aspects that made the multiplayer great. So I was like, oh, alright, I mean, this is pretty good. And then it started to go downhill like a little bit towards the end of the life cycle of Uncharted 3, but it was still a pretty good game. I still played Uncharted 3 multiplayer. Bro, I don't even know how many hours I put into that, but I played way too many hours in Uncharted 3 multiplayer, and that's the shame, you know. Like, I enjoyed Uncharted 2 multiplayer a lot, and then I'd put even more hours in Uncharted 3 multiplayer, but I hated it. Uncharted 4 multiplayer, I think I've put like I've put like maybe 5 playing days, not like 5 in-game hour, 5 in-game, 5, how do I word this? 5 days worth of gameplay? I haven't done that. I've played the game multiplayer for about like 5 total days, and that's been since launch. I've played the game, we've had fun, but the multiplayer isn't the same. The combat isn't great. They removed a lot of the features that made it what it was. They removed all the game modes that they previously incorporated into the last game. A lot of people have been saying, hey man, well those modes weren't even in there at launch. Okay, so this is the last game, so why are those features not in here at launch? That doesn't make any sense. Hey guys, sorry, we're gonna chronologically follow the same timeline of all the other Uncharted games, start from 0 and work up from there. They've been adding game modes, but they're taking a while, man, and it's not looking too great. The multiplayer is sort of slowly dying. I'm slowly dying because I wish that I could have the same great time that I once did on Uncharted multiplayer, but I can't. So, unfortunately, Uncharted 4 multiplayer is about as depressing as the ending to Star Wars Bounty Hunter. So, let's move on from that and act like it never happened. Uncharted 4 was a great story place. Uncharted 4 was a great story. Uncharted 4 was a great single-player story-based game, but if it was an option, I would delete the multiplayer from the game. And that's just my personal opinion. This is my top 5 list. I've spoken my opinions. TheDrewCruz has spoken his opinions. He has spoken. He has returned for another feature this year, and I thank him for doing so. So if you guys enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate it if you guys would take a look at TheDrewCruz's channel, take a look at my channel, and take a look at our channel 4th echelons. We're gonna be putting up a lot more content coming in the next year, 2017. So unfortunately, I hate doing plugs, but give our channel a look because we will be starting a new podcast, a bunch of other things. We will be doing all kinds of crazy videos. We already have a couple crazy videos up there, but we're gonna do a lot more. We just need the time to do so. So I hope that you guys can look forward to that. I know we've promised a lot in the past, but this channel, we really promised that this is gonna happen this time. So look forward to that. Look forward to maybe a little bit more content from me. I'm gonna try and do my best. I know I keep saying that I will, but it's like, it's not easy, man. Like, I'm trying to think of new ideas and put content out at the same time, and that's not always the best thing when you're a one-man band working on like a million things. I work a job, I work a second job, I work a job as a graphic designer, I work, YouTube, I work another YouTube channel and another YouTube channel, and then I'm doing all kinds of stuff for people, and I don't mean to complain, but it's not easy. So I'm working on it. I'm working on getting more content out there for you guys to enjoy. I'm planning on trying to promote myself a little bit more, maybe. I don't know. I hate promoting myself because it seems stupid. If you guys like the content, I feel like you would share it. So if you enjoyed this comment, Alright, so if you enjoyed this video, leave a comment saying that you like this comment. I'll like that comment, and that'll be it. Just kidding. If you guys like this video, leave a like. I hate saying it. Subscribe if you would like to see more of my very sporadic content, and share it with your friends. I'd appreciate it. Alright guys, I hope you guys have a great 2017. I'll see if I can get some extra content out here as soon as possible, but no promises. Take care.